Hey, so this is Kristin Catherwood with Heritage Saskatchewan, and I'm here today with Pierrette Settee from Cumberland House, and it's Tuesday, September 22nd, 2020. And we're going to talk today about the COVID-19 Culture Living Heritage Project. Pierrette was one of our coordinators, and she collected, I think you actually got 6 interviews for us, right, Pierrette?
Yes.
Yeah, which is wonderful. And I just, first of all, wanted to ask you, I guess, first of all, tell us a little bit about just yourself, who you are and how you got into sort of collecting stories and things like that.
Oh, okay. um, my name is I'll start over. My name is Pierrette Settee, from Cumberland House, Cree Nation, and I was born in Nipawin, Saskatchewan. I I started off recording the land and documenting as much as I could. I don't know, because I thought we were losing the land and our livelihood. So I thought by interviewing the elders, I could try and preserve some knowledge for the future. Because as myself, I'm not really good at speaking Cree, but I understand it very well.
And yeah, Pierrette, you got in your interviews, one of the elders you interviewed, Bertha Mackay, did her interview in Cree, Swampy Cree, and a couple other people had Cree throughout their interviews. And so can you tell me about how you chose the participants you interviewed, why you chose them? Because you had a great diversity. You had, like I said, an elder speaking Cree, but you also had really young people, like people still in school, sharing their stories. So could you just let me know, how did you choose the people you interviewed, and tell me a little bit about them?
Okay. Just gonna wait for the semi to pass by.
Oh.
Yeah, it's right right outside the door. This is
Oh yeah, I hear it.
okay. The people I chose, hey, basically the people I chose were people I already knew in the community. Bertha was the last because I kind of felt like the interviews needed more Cree. Because the first one I thought was going to be in Cree, but instead it really wasn't. Um, didn't turn out the way I thought it was going to be. But um, with that, the first interview, Lester Liberty, that was kind of, I don't know, because he just like, he's like a historian, so he knows a lot. And I feel like by hearing him speak, by hearing him speak and telling his story of how he had to cope with it, the COVID-19 situation where we were all isolated. Yeah, basically he was all alone and all he had was his art, and that kind of helped him in a way, but still that when we were allowed to visit and start talking with each other, I found that the COVID-19 isolation just made everyone depressed and isolated, and they couldn't, he basically didn't have no phone, so he was all alone in this isolation maybe some people would check up on him, but he was going through a lot. So that's why I kind of chose him. And Bertha at the end, kind of needed her Cree because she's really well known and she's helping out at the CTEP, and she basically knows how to write Cree. The younger ones, Jared, that's kind of like he's basically my nephew. Didn't really live with him, but he was security. He's a youth advocate. He just got a job as a youth coordinator just recently. And plus he was he was using my truck to be security, so he kind of was like in the front line. And he's like 22, in his 20s anyway, probably 21. I forget. And Tavian just happened to agree. I kind of asked like about 5 youth, and Tavian just was happy to agree because he's been doing interviews for like a couple years now. And Clifford, he's a great storyteller, and just hearing him speak Cree was I don't know. I needed that out of all the interviews. He was the 5th one, so Clifford and Bertha kind of made my interviews awesome. I just needed their interviews.
And Carrie worked in healthcare, right? In the health center.
Yeah. And Carrie Dorian, she's the health transportation clerk at the health center on the reserve. She works with the status people, I guess. So she has, Carrie has to Carrie has to get up 9 to 5, and sometimes she waits for like faxes from non-insured benefits for like her clients after work, and which makes her really dedicated, I guess. So she was kind of working while everyone else was like isolated in their homes.
So, what about you, Pierrette, when the shutdown happened, the lockdown happened, and Cumberland was there? You know, you were isolated and cut off. There was roadblocks and everything. How was your life affected when everything was really shut down there in March and April?
Wow. Well, we were going to school, and all of a sudden, one of our classmates, her husband was tested, and he was positive for COVID-19, and everyone just basically shunned us, I guess. We were outcasts. We were the talk of the town. Yeah. It's, even in the 2 hours away in Nipawin, the nearest town where we get our groceries, the community just shunned the whole community of Cumberland because of that taxi driver who wasn't really from the community, who just happened to be married to our CTEP classmate. And that kind of like, I was like, wow, even my own family made me feel like I was unwanted. And yeah, that was kind of hard. the beginning anyway. Right before the bridge closed, I just happened to leave that morning, and I was just gonna go and buy a deep freeze so I could start stocking up on groceries. And all of a sudden my mom tells me, yeah, they're shutting down the bridge, not gonna let anyone in. It's like, what? I'm outside the bridge. Like, well, you have 10 minutes. What the hell? I mean, oh my God. Yeah, it was kind of, that is like, that is like overwhelming, really overwhelming, because you have to rush. It's like you're already halfway down the highway, and like you have enough gas to get home or have enough gas to get to the nearest town. What do you do? So, yeah. Not to kind of call some people and tell them like, hey, we're coming back. We're not close the bridge. We're not. I was like, you guys gotta let us in. Yeah, I got my deep freeze, and like, actually we got 2 deep freezes. A lot of people started stocking up and thinking about the next couple weeks, the next, like what was gonna like last for the next month. But I guess this is what our grannies and our kulums and our mushrooms taught us. They were training us from we were kids to prepare for the futures, things like this. Teaching us about medicines and how to be clean and take care of your home. So I think that's what everyone did, was take care of their homes. They cleaned really good, even though it wasn't here. They cleaned their homes really good. It's just like winter, spring cleanup. It was winter cleanup. Everybody cleaned their homes and made sure the handles were wiped down. And, and there was a lot of jokes on social media about that. People just, there was even like no visitor signs. I can say I put one up because I was scared.
What
Yeah,
about
it
now?
was scary.
Yeah, it was. And it's been 6 months now, which is hard to believe. And what's it like now in Cumberland, Pierrette, and what's in your mind right now in September 2020, as we had a summer and things somewhat didn't go back to normal, but there was an easing of those strict restrictions, and people were able to travel around again and see each other again. And now as we're heading into fall and winter, where's your mind at right now? And what do you think the community's kind of thinking about?
Well, I have family out in the cities, and like I wish like we had more room for them to come home when this stuff happens. Because I feel like when they close that bridge, they're keeping us safe. That's how I feel, and I kind of feel like they need to do that again, because it feels like the second doesn't feel like the second wave. It just feels like it's gonna be worse than it was, because nobody's listening. Nobody is keeping distance, keeping that 6 feet apart. There, yeah, like when I just this weekend, I was like just shopping for groceries, keeping that distance, washing my hands, and on the other street, intoxicated people were just crowding each other, groups of 6, like maybe they came from the same household, but maybe they came from different households. But I think that's where we're not watching ourselves, is we're not keeping that distance, and it's going to keep spreading. And for me, I think I want to, well, I already started stocking up, so I think I might have to go and stock up on some more tall paper. Kind of have a feeling something bad, like that's going to go away again. Yeah, the tall paper, that part was really when everyone went crazy for toilet paper. That just, oh my god, even wipes, like Lysol wipes, just before they closed the bridge, there was like a stockpile of Lysol wipes. Then the week that they closed the bridge, there was nothing at all. Yeah, it's kind of scary how people can just overstock and then try sell it online. Because I actually was trying them. I was thinking about buying some Lysol wipes online, but the price on those Lysol wipes is like, oh my god. Yeah, I think it's time to stock up because I don't want to go through that again.
What about the future, Pierrette? That's the question that you asked participants, and I'd like to ask you as well, is do you think that there are lessons that we can learn from this going forward?
Yeah, lessons from this. I kind of like the curfew because I kind of helped the B&Es, breaking and entering. But at the same time, that was kind of like a waste of money, because we should all be watching our own stuff. But as soon as that curfew was lifted and we didn't have no security watching the community, like the drugs just went crazy. And as soon as they opened the bridge, that's when everyone started going crazy, like alcohol, the drugs, and yeah, it maybe closing off that bridge and keeping security, just not like stopping people from coming in, but to monitor where we've been, give them papers, like just to and watch, and even to like have that extra guideline where people like come out of town and they go to that household, for those people to stay in that isolation area, or those 14 days of isolation, because if that person has it and goes into that household, and someone from that household goes to the store and passes it on, like what's the use of having security and having all these paperworks when nobody wants to take that extra precaution for them, especially in the household. That's the part where I didn't get when they closed off the bridge. Like, people came in and they're supposed to do the 14 days, but the people in the household just went into stores, went into businesses, were visiting. So I don't know. I think it's like basically up to us to learn from this, I guess. In us as individuals need to learn how to like, keep track of where we've been. Because I even been thinking about that, just writing down where I've been, the time and the dates, because just thinking about it, you never know where you could get it from. Could be on a piece of cloth, it could be on a plastic. I'm kind of scared that it might go on, might like the birds, like our geese. Like, what if the geese that come from down south have had it and then brought it here, and we're hunters basically, and right now it's hunting season. That's kind of scary.
I'd never thought of that before, but yeah, there's no border restrictions for them, is there?
Yeah.
So, Pierrette, before I end the interview, is there anything else you wanted to say about just this project, or maybe do you think it's important to document the stories as this is going on and to have this kind of historical record, or anything else you want to say about this?
Yeah. By documenting our elders and getting their stories, and like just by documenting our elders and learning their stories, we can go forward, because we can't go forward if we don't look towards the past. And elders are like our knowledge keepers, because they know how to hunt, they know how to gather, they know how to preserve meat that'll last long. And with this epidemic, and I think we do need this. We need to document the elders and the hunters, and also the nurses, because they're the ones that are on the front line and they see everything.
Okay, thank you so
Yeah,
much,
I think I'm
Pierrette.
done.
Okay, thank you for your words today, your interview with me, and thank you also for your work on this project and collecting those interviews. There's such a wonderful contribution to all these voices from across the province that show how COVID-19 has affected us in so many different ways. And this has been Kristin Catherwood talking with Pierrette Settee on September 22nd, 2020.